Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle happening every Thursday. I'm your host, Leslie Klein. So, this is where we intentionally raise our vibration and align with the highest timeline available to us. Today's energy is powerful. We've got Mercury officially stationing retrograde. That happened this morning at 1:43 a.m., I believe. Um, and we also we're in a waxing moon phase, heading toward the Virgo lunar eclipse, which is happening on March 3rd, next Tuesday. And we're also fresh off the Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries that just happened last Friday on the 20th. So lots happening, but this is not chaotic energy. This is recalibration energy. The universe is not slowing us down. It is not slowing us down to frustrate ourselves. It's inviting us to reset, to realign, and refine. So, today we're going to talk about how to stay centered, clear, and high vibe while the cosmos encourages reflection, release, and refinement. So let's dive in. Now, I am streaming live to Facebook, uh, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So please feel free to comment as you're watching live, and you can always comment on the replay as well. I'll see those comments and can respond to them as well. So, let me know where you're watching from. So let's start by looking up because this is where all the action is happening as far as the cosmos and the planets. Um, so before we look ahead to the eclipse, which is happening on Tuesday, we need to talk about what's happening right now. So Mercury is officially retrograde. It happened this morning at 1:48 a.m. Eastern Time, and it will be retrograde until March 20th. So we've got about a 3-week period. And if you count the before, the pre shadow, and the post shadow, there's a period of time, 7 to 10 days prior, before, and after Mercury goes retrograde, where we still feel those impacts. So, what's Mercury retrograde all about? Well, the planet Mercury rules communications, computers, contracts, all of this, whether it's communication with people through contracts or communication through texting or emails or just between people. When Mercury is retrograde, there is a tendency for communications to get screwed up where people are misunderstanding and this kind of thing. So it's really important during this period to, take a little extra time and be patient, cross your T's, dot your I's, double check that email before you send it out. Double check um, a text before you send it, or make sure you're sending it to the right person. So that's what you want to do. That's the best way to be aware to kind of avoid issues during a Mercury retrograde. Now, this, just like the moon can be in a different zodiac sign, the planets can be as well. They go through the different signs as well. And Mercury is actually in the sign of Pisces. So we have the sun in Pisces. That just happened on February 19th. The sun went into the sign of Pisces. And now we've got this Mercury retrograde happening in Pisces. So we got this double Pisces energy happening. And because it's in Pisces, this retrograde will highlight emotional nuance, intuition, and past memories, also inner reflection. So during a Mercury retrograde, it's really good to kind of go within and really take that time to do meditation, to kind of go inside and reflect, to journal, to have that introspection time. Um, so the communication that Mercury in Pisces rules is more about feeling than logic, because Pisces is that intuition and feeling energy. It's a water sign, and all the water signs are more of the feeling, as opposed to an air sign, which, like Aquarius was more about the mental energy. So it's about feeling, it's about spirituality, it's about being connected with other people. Like, think about fish in the water. The water. it's very fluid and very flowing, and it's hard to know like when one thing begins and one thing ends, and it's very move. There's a lot of movement. Um, so this is a time of introspection and spiritual alignment, especially with this Mercury retrograde. You can really go deep in this. And like I said, we've got the sun in Pisces too. So the sun is in Pisces. The Mercury is in retrograde. That's retrograde is in Pisces as well. So here are some of the concept of Pisces season. Intuition, Pisces rules intuition, compassion, spiritual awareness, emotional sensitivity, endings and surrender, heightened dreams, and symbolism. So these are all the energy of Pisces. So consider that during this Sun in Pisces and also Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So now let's talk about the um, full moon that's happening, and it's also a total lunar eclipse. I've said earlier that when we have a uh, new moon solar eclipse, 2 weeks later, you always have a lunar eclipse. They always come in pairs. So we're in this waxing moon phase. We have the new moon on February 17th in the sign of Aquarius. And now we're growing, the moon is growing to full moon on March 3rd at 6:38 a.m. And actually, the lunar eclipse is total at 6:33 a.m. So if you get up early, around 4 or 5 o'clock, you can start seeing the full moon. And this is Eastern time. So you want to look to the, let's see, I believe to the to the west. You want to look to the west because I'm wrong. No, the sun rises in the east, so you want to look to the east. So what happens during an lunar eclipse is that the sun, um, excuse me, the moon will be setting. So it'll be setting. Gosh, why am I getting confused here? The sun is good. Okay, look to the west because the moon is going to be um, setting, right? The full moon will be setting in the west. It kind of follows the sun. And it's the Earth's shadow that blocks the light from the sun to the moon. So they're opposite, the sun and the moon. So as the sun is rising at 6:04, whatever, in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, the moon will be setting. And so it's the earth that's in the middle that is blocking the light of the sun. So that's why it'll be pretty interesting. But you want to look to the west at the horizon because that's where you'll be seeing the lunar eclipse and full moon. So, what else can I share with you about this? Um, so again, that happens at 6:38 a.m. is when it's exactly full, and the lunar eclipse is at 6:33. So the other thing that's been happening that we talked about last week was on February 20th is when we had Saturn and Neptune conjunct, that means together, at 0 degrees Aries, which kicked off a whole new era because 0 degrees Aries, these two planets have not been at this degree for thousands of years. So this kicks off a whole new era. And, we're integrating this energy as well. And what's important about it is that Saturn rules structure and discipline, and Neptune rules is the actual planet for Pisces. It rules spirituality. So this is where discipline is meeting dreams. This is where it's important to bring structure to our visions. To ground those visions, those dreams that we have, and really put ground our spiritual insight into practical action. So, and of course, we're in this year of the fire horse that just started at this last new moon that we just had. and lots of fire energy, lots of energy, lots of momentum happening with that. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, please put it in the chat, but things have just been one after another, just lots of things happening. And fire energy has to do with independence, momentum, change, rebellion against stagnation. Um, Fire horse energy doesn't tolerate playing small. So when you add all of these up together, we've got lots of energy happening. And again, if we're aware of this, we can work with the energy as opposed to being influenced and tossed about the ocean like a boat, with no direction, no rudder, no sail. So let's talk about, and also, the 0 degrees Aries with Saturn and Neptune is a cosmic reset button. So we're pushing that reset button for all of us. This is the end of a karmic cycle. All right. So um, last week I talked too about building the dream or the dream dissolves. So this is really important. And as we're speaking of building something new, let's talk about disclosure because lots happening there as well. Um, the new film, Dr. Greer has just announced the new film, CE5, the New Frontier of Contact, is now available on Amazon, actually, and Apple TV. And I have a link for the Amazon film, and you can actually rent it or purchase it. And he is having a premiere on March 29th in Tampa, Florida. It's a Sunday. It's a small premiere, and he will be there to answer questions. The tickets are about $55 a piece, and he can sit 50 people at a time. So he's going to actually have 2 showings. And I did try to play the trailer last week and had an issue with that. So hopefully it'll work this time. So here is the trailer for the movie CE5, The New Frontier of Contact.
Through the vastness of space and time, touching the very edge of the universe, Dr. Greer and his CE5 ambassadors embarked on a journey. Their collective, enlightened consciousness not only created an experience felt by the entire group, but also captured undeniable video evidence of contact.
See, look at
Okay, still having issues with this trailer. Well, so forget about the trailer. Go watch the movie. And here's the tinyurl.com/capital GVTV CE5 film. And this is where you can actually rent or purchase it. And it's on my Amazon store, so check it out. The other thing that's happening with Dr. Stephen Greer is he's having the 25th anniversary of his disclosure project announcement that he had back in 2001 on May 9th. He was at the National Press Club in DC and announced the Disclosure Project and had several whistleblowers testify at that particular time. So this was a very much a milestone in the UFO disclosure movement. And it's 25 years later. So he's planning on doing, we don't have all the details yet, but on May 9th of this year, 2026, around that time, he's planning another National Press Club meeting announcement of his disclosure project, updating everyone on what's going on there. So mark your calendars for May 9th if you can be there. Here is his website, drstephengreer.com. He's got all kinds of information on there. If you want to support him further, besides buying the movie, you can, and renting it even helps too. But he has a membership, monthly membership things where you get access to his information, but you can go to his YouTube channel as well. So it's just really good stuff, and I really feel good about Dr. Rear. I've never met him personally, but all of the films he's put out, all of the information that he's put out, just even creating the CE5 protocol, which you can get on your phone. Just search for CE5 app, and it's a whole app on meditations and training you on how to do CE5 contact, which I'm still working on. I haven't really, I've done the meditation a couple of times, but I haven't really made contact. But I'm working on it. So, okay. So, the other big news that's been happening this last week is with the New Paradigm Institute. And let me share my screen. There was a specific action. Let's see. Take this one, remove from studio. A specific action that, take that off. The New Paradigm Institute put forth last week. This was after President Obama on Brian Tyler Cohen's podcast. He asked President Obama, what's with the aliens? And Obama said aliens are real. Then one of the reporters on Air Force One asked Trump and said Obama said that aliens are real. And shortly after that, President Trump came out with a statement. So here is the press release, and I'll read a little bit of it about the New Paradigm Institute. So President Trump put out that tweet, but a tweet isn't policy, or Truth Social, whatever it is not true policy. So the action that NPI is asking volunteers and anyone, you don't have to be a volunteer to do this action, is to contact the White House and get them to create a binding executive order and assertion of direct congressional control over full and immediate UFO, UAP, and ET/NHI disclosure. So I'm going to read a little bit about from this press release. So NPI is demanding a binding executive order with clear UAP, UFO, and ET and NHI definitions. NHI is non-human intelligence. A permanent review board created by Congress, and safeguards for insider whistleblowers. Take action now and send a pre-written letter to President Trump and call for immediate executive action on the UAP UFO records. So let's see. NPI welcomes President Donald J. Trump's announcement promising to direct the relevant executive branch departments and agencies to identify and release government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, which is UAP, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and related matters. This is a long overdue step toward transparency, but genuine disclosure will require more than the executive branch simply promising to locate such documents. We need robust processes, clear definitions, and enforceable direct congressional participation in compelling full disclosure to ensure that the public finally learns everything that our government knows about non-human intelligence and anomalous technologies commonly known as UFOs or UAP. So you can actually go to their website. I'm not going to read the whole thing and read all of that. And if you read it there, you can click on this link here and it'll take you to the page. It's so easy to take the action. You just fill out your information, and you can also sign up for their newsletter. It's free. It comes every week. You get it directly from Danny Sheehan, the president of the New Paradigm Institute. You put, if you don't want to put your phone number, you don't have to. Email, whatever you feel like filling out. And then when you fill it out, it'll send it to the White House directly coming from you. So this is, I think, really important for us as citizens to really press the government and press Donald Trump to do what he, says, to put money where his mouth is. And I made a little tinyurl.com GVTV WHCTA, so White House CTA call to action. That'll take you directly to that page, or just go to the New Paradigm Institute. I will put these in the show notes as well. So that's what's been happening. Some of the news that's happened since the last week. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the new show called Galactic Good Vibes, which I just started premiering about over a week ago. So episode 2 with Dr. Melanie Barton is now out, and you can go to the tinyurl.com/GGV for Galactic Good Vibes. Barton 2. Barton is in small case. And that'll take you directly to episode 2. Episode 3, or part 3, actually, will come out next week. And the week after that, I'll have the full episode altogether. This week, I also interviewed Kevin Briggs, who is a channeler of the Council of Eight, who Dr. Melanie Barton talks about in these parts, the episode 1. So check it out. Give me feedback, and let me know what you think. This series called Galactic Good Vibes are interviews with experiencers, people who have had and are having direct experiences with ET people, with our star family, as the Native Americans call them. So also, what's coming up next week, there is a new episode of the Disclosure Dialogues, which is a panel discussion that I host. This will happen on March 4th, on Wednesday, the day after the eclipse. And here is the link where you can actually get notified on YouTube, tinyurl.com/disclosure dialogue, with the D's capitalized 7. This is episode number 7. So, Vicky is telling me that you don't have any sound. Uh-oh. Huh. I wonder, let me double check my microphone. Hopefully, maybe I was just slow. But hopefully you heard everything. If not, I'll have to redo this. Okay, so that is the tiny URL for the Disclosure Dialogues. Now let's move on, and I'm going to check my audio. It seems like I've got it, but maybe it's just really low. I apologize for that. I have the background setting because I have the generator on, so there's some background noise, and that might be the problem. So maybe I should change that setting, and let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, I took that off, so maybe that's better. Let me know in the comments if you would. And thanks everybody for the hearts and for watching. Okay, so I told you about the Disclosure Dialogues. So we're going to talk about next week I've got 5 state leaders, 4 citizens for disclosure, who have been volunteering under the New Paradigm Institute. And we're going to talk about this call to action and what Trump put in the Truth Social, and anything that's happening between now and then, because things are always happening. So we're going to be talking about disclosure overall. We're going to give you an update on what's happened, the short history over the last year and a half or so of what's been happening. And the people that I've got as panelists are really well-versed in the subject, and you'll learn a lot. So I hope you can join us live. And if not, there's always a replay. Okay, so let's now talk about conscious activism. And of course, being part of New Paradigm Institute is one way to participate in conscious action. And one of the other ways that I'd like to follow is the No Kings March. So there is a group, and it's actually a collection of several groups like Indivisible and stuff, who have been the ones organizing these protests that we've had since the beginning of the year. And basically their message is there are no kings. It's against fascism. It's you know, for what democracy is all about, right? Not authoritarianism. So you can go to nokings.org and find out where there are protests happening. These are peaceful protests. And you can also go to their website to get all kinds of information to prepare on how, ways to go be involved in the protest, peaceful protests, safely, and this kind of thing. So I just want to put that out there. March 28th, mark your calendars and go to the website to learn more information because I think it's really important that we are involved in our democracy, whether you're doing it sending emails or whether you're really wanting to go out in the streets and, let your voice be heard and practice our First Amendment right, to free speech. So that's what that's all about. The other thing I want to talk about is meditation. Of course, Pamela Gregory has been talking about and promoting at 2 o'clock every day that to send love and light to the planet. And this is 2 p.m. Eastern time. So convert that to whatever time zone you're in. Just for 15 minutes, send out love and light to the planet. You don't necessarily have to follow a guided meditation. You can just be silent and quiet and just visualize from your heart sending light and love to the planet, however you want to do it. But know that there are many thousands of other people doing this at that same time. So I think it's really powerful. And because information is powerful, but embodiment is transformational, we're going to move from thinking into aligning and take a few minutes to center ourselves and into this Mercury retrograde energy and the Virgo eclipse energy. So let me get my music started here. And if you're driving, please do not do this meditation. This is something that you want to do when you're safe and in a safe space. So if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're in a space where you can relax and take a few minutes to tune in, please follow me during this meditation. So this is going to be called the Mercury Retrograde meditation. And so take a deep breath in through your nose and gently exhale through your mouth. Again, deep inhale and release. Allow your body to soften. Feel your feet grounded. Feel your spine tall. And feel your heart gently open. Mercury is retrograde. But instead of resisting it, imagine it as a gentle tide pulling you inward. See yourself standing beside calm water. With every inhale, the water comes towards you. With every exhale, it pulls back. In towards you and out, pulling back. This is review. This is reflection. This is recalibration. Now bring your awareness to the upcoming full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. Visualize a bright, luminous moon above you. Its light is precise, clear, purifying. Virgo energy is not about perfection. It's about alignment. Ask yourself silently, What habits no longer serve my highest good? What routines need refinement? Where am I ready to simplify? See those outdated patterns as small leaves in your hands. And when you're ready, gently release them into the water. Watch them drift away. You're not losing anything. You're refining your path. Now, as the Earth's shadow crosses the face of the full moon, bring Saturn and Neptune into your awareness. One hand representing structure, the other hand representing vision. Now bring your hands together at your heart. You are capable of disciplined dreams. You are capable of spiritual structure. You are capable of grounded manifestation. Now take a slow breath in and affirm silently. I reflect with wisdom. I release with grace. I align with clarity. Now see yourself after the eclipse. The shadow has moved away. The light of the moon is shining again. See yourself lighter, more organized, more centered, more intentional. Now take one final deep breath in and return to the room. When you're ready, open your eyes. The energy right now is not about rushing forward. It's about refining your foundation so that what you build next is solid, aligned, and intentional. Mercury invites reflection. Virgo invites refinement. And the eclipse invites release. And you get to choose alignment. This is how we live the Good Vibes lifestyle. So I hope that was helpful in getting you aligned. And next we're going to talk about, do an actual spread with some oracle cards. I like using this book called the 111 Oracle Spreads. And every week, each month, we're kind of matching the month. So this being the end of the month of February, I'm using a 2-card spread. And the cards that I use are the Psychic Tarot Pocket Oracle deck. You can use any oracle deck. The main purpose here is to share with you different spreads that you can use when using whatever oracle card deck you like, or the tarot deck. So this is called the Light and Shadow Spread. So let me read from the book here. The spread represents the duality of light and shadow elements found in each person and situation in life. Just as there's no darkness without the dawn, there are no painful experiences without a lesson. Use the spread to take a step back and recognize the interplay of light and shadow in your inquiry. So the first card represents the light. And here we're going to ask what positive, inspiring, or what is positive, inspiring, or visible. And then card 2 is going to be the shadow. What is negative, challenging, or hidden? So I picked this one, light and shadow, because we do have the full moon happening, the lunar eclipse happening, and I figured this would kind of fit with all of that. So let's ask the question with spirit as I shuffle the cards and ask, which card, what do we need to know about, and what is representing the light regarding our inquiry? This could be any inquiry you have. This could be for you individually or the collective. This can be for us now here as we're doing this live, or this can be, be used during the replay. So let's ask, what can we learn about the light? What is positive, inspiring, or visible? I'm going to pull a card. And the second card is representing the shadow. So what is negative, challenging, or hidden that we need to know about right now? All right. So the first card I'm getting, the light, which this is interesting. The light, this is representing the light. Heartache and loss. This is, I believe, the Three of Swords. What is positive, inspiring, or visible? Heartache and loss. Interesting. So let's read about that card. The swords have to do with the mental aspect. And let me find that particular description. So yes, this is heartache and loss would be the Three of Swords in the traditional tarot deck. So it says, the meaning of this card revolves around disappointment, sorrow, and separation, which can cause upheaval and distress. It takes all the strength you have at this moment in order to move past the pain and heal your heart. The love that has been given to another should now be focused on you. Although you might look at this card as being negative, it can act as a tremendous catalyst, encouraging you to move on. The painful experiences of life are just as valuable as the joyous ones. You may not appreciate that sentiment at this challenging time, but life does have a way of pushing you forward, even though you may not always know the final destination. As you endure this period, learn not to dwell on the past, but use your strong mental control to deal with your emotions. Have faith in knowing that you will get through this. So that is representing the light, which is kind of interesting because it seems like it should sorry about this. Trying to get it. There we go. The light. What is this positive, inspiring, or visible? So it seems counterintuitive because this is the Three of Swords. But what I can say and what's making sense to me is that the heartache and the loss is being brought to light. So I know it's kind of doesn't make sense, but let's see where we go here. And they actually seem kind of, I'm going to blame this on Mercury Retrograde because here we go with the shadow card. The shadow, what is negative, challenging, or hidden? And I'm getting the solar plexus chakra. This particular tarot deck does include the 7 chakras. So let's read the solar plexus chakra, which is our internal sun. The color, of course, is yellow. So to me, this would be more of the light card. So maybe because it's Mercury retrograde, we're getting their opposite. It should be the other way around. But it's there we go. All right. So color is yellow. The element is fire. Keywords are I can. The solar plexus chakra is located between the navel area just below the rib cage. It represents power, vitality, willpower, self-esteem, and confidence. the energy center where your emotions and feelings are recorded. This chakra is associated with clairsentience, which is inner feeling, which is the major psychic reception area. You know, when you feel your gut reaction, when you feel it in your gut, when you kind of just have a knowing. To balance the chakra, you may want to try yoga, dance, and movement, or breath work with color. In addition, be aware of people who drain your energy. Workshops and classes that can focus on empowerment will help you open and harmonize this area. So, what is negative, challenging, or hidden? So, how do we put these two cards together as far as the light and the dark? Because it seems like they should have been the other way around. So, you know, our power. The third chakra represents our power, and perhaps this is, you know, what's being hidden regarding this Mercury retrograde. Or it could be that maybe these cards should have been pulled the other way around, which would make more sense, that this being the light, this one being the light, and the other being the shadow. So anyway, this was an interesting spread and interesting combination. Let me see if I can get anything more here. Shedding light on the heartache, and the shadow is not taking back our power. The solar plexus represents our power and being empowered. So perhaps that's what's happening, is that we're not taking back our power, and we're letting, you know, like what came to me was about like the Epstein files with the heartache and loss. That all the trauma and all the stuff has been coming to light, right? It's being put out in the light, and you know, we may feel powerless about it, like there's nothing that we can do. Even the same with UAP disclosure. But there are things we can do. We can demand transparency. We can demand that things, you know, that we don't stop. You know, just because we want UAP disclosure doesn't mean that we don't want, you know, the Epstein files disclosure. We demand as a people to know what is happening, and our government works for us. So I think that, to me, that's the message there, is not to feel disempowered when all of these tragic things are coming to light, realizing they're coming to light for a purpose, and that purpose is to say no, that this is not acceptable, and we want to create a reality that doesn't have these kind of negative things. So anyway, that's what I got for that one. So if you like the book, this Oracle spread book, you can go to Good Vibes TV. Also, the movie for Dr. Greer's movies on there. So check it out. This is one way that you can support me, and I appreciate it. Okay, so we're winding down to the end of the show. And last but not least, I love to talk about a tip of the week to raise our vibration. So last week's tip was, in alignment with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, was to take one dream that you've been talking about and give it structure. Because we know that when we have a dream and a deadline, that's how we manifest things. And it's so true. I know when you know, having goals is one thing, but if you don't set a time to it, like a deadline when you want to accomplish it by, and know that, you know, I was having a trouble by setting a date, because I'm like, then I'm too locked in. But know that you can set that date, but then you can change it. So that's okay to change it. You can adjust. But setting the date kind of locks in, because we're in this 3D world of time and space, that we need to have those to help us to manifest things. So set a date, set a launch date, schedule the meeting, outline the book, reach out to a collaborator. Whatever dream that you've been dreaming, take some specific actions, you know, to make that dream come true. And this week's tip of the week to raise your vibration, here's a good one. It's turn off your Wi-Fi and your cell phone at night. This is so important, and I'm going to be doing an interview with a man who is very well versed in how cell phone radiation, EMFs from Wi-Fi, all of these things, cell towers, this electromagnetic frequencies that are out there coming from our phones, coming from our computers, have a negative health impact. And what I've been doing, I actually have our Wi-Fi on a timer. So at night it automatically turns off so that when we're sleeping, those Wi-Fi frequencies are not messing with our sleep. Also, I haven't been turning off my phone, but I do have my phone in a whole nother room. It's far away from me because I like to keep it in case there's an emergency. Somebody, but I probably should start turning it off. So this is the tip to raise your vibration because all of these negative, EMF frequencies really hurt us. People have gotten, brain tumors from being on the cell phone too much. And, right where the phone is, the tumor has happened. So, and you've heard about, when the girls were putting their cell phones in their bras, that causing breast cancer. So, or the guys keeping them in their pocket, causing testicular cancer. So, it's really important to be aware of this. And unfortunately, our government has not been forthright about what the true dangers are. And this is part of what needs to be revealed across the board regarding the truth, regarding what the science is about these technologies. And also, one other reason why we want to have UAP disclosure, because these ETs are so far advanced that they can help give us, when there's open contact, they can give us technologies that are safer for us and safer for the planet so that we can still communicate and stuff, but not be hurting ourselves. So, anyway, that's this week's tip of the week to raise your vibration. All right, my friends. So, I want to thank you for watching today. Today we explored the Mercury retrograde as time to reflect and recalibrate, not to fear. We're building towards the Virgo lunar eclipse and full moon on March 3rd, and it's a powerful moment for release, recalibration, and resetting our daily habits because it's in the sign. It's in the sign of Virgo. We're integrating the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries, reminding us that our dreams require structure. And our structure requires vision. So we need reflection, refinement, and release. And that's the kind of energy that we're in right now. So the universe isn't slowing us down, it's aligning us. Mercury says, review your thoughts. Virgo says, refine your routines. And the eclipse is saying, release what no longer is aligned. And when you respond consciously instead of reactively, that's when you truly step into your power. Stay centered, stay intentional, stay in your heart, and keep choosing the highest vibration available to you. This is how we live the Good Vibes lifestyle. So I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching and have a great lunar eclipse and Mercury retrograde. Peace out, everyone.